Absolutely. Apologies for that mix-up.
Henry Marah.
Oh, fantastic. So, Honorable Marah, so if you can go ahead and tell us,
now,
is it that these monies that you were talking, as presented by the chair of the ad hoc committee, were spent without appropriation?
As a matter of fact, the 423 billion were monies taken directly from the purse of the government without any activity attached to it. That is why you will see in the report, we said that the money was siphoned. The Commissioner of Finance and the Accountant General withdrew 30 billion naira from the account of the State Internal General Revenue. They withdrew 1.4 trillion from the state government USD account. These monies were taken without any activity attached to it. So that 423 billion naira is the cash they took. And you cannot tie it down to any project. So that is one discovery on its own. Then we'll now come back to mismanagement of the funds in terms of project implementation. It's another case on its own.
All right, so let's get straight. So it's interesting what we're hearing. Because one we wonder that in all of what happened in the 8 years of Governor El-Rufai, there are those who are serving presently in the government or in the cabinet of Governor Uba Sani. Did they appear before the committee when this investigation started?
Everybody that was invited appeared, except for Mrs. Dolapo, the woman that headed the Kaduna Power Company. She's the only one at the moment we cannot trace her whereabouts, but every other person appeared and testified before the committee.
So were they able to explain? Because when you say if there's a sitting commissioner for finance who also who served as a commissioner of finance under Governor El-Rufai, was he able to explain? Because he was the one who literally helped with of course, with the assistance of the the Accountant General of the state. These are the statutory persons who are saddled with the responsibility of dispensing and disbursing funds on behalf of the state. Were they able to explain how these funds were being disbursed, what they were meant for, and where they went to?
Well, to start with, before we invited them, we recruited the services of professionals. We had audited reports. We have chartered accountants. We have lawyers. We have chartered project managers that were invited and brought upon to help us look at the documents. As a matter of fact, of course, they will try to defend themselves, but the records are very, very clear. For instance, there was a company they paid 82 million naira for. They paid the company 82 million naira and then they tagged its interest. Of course, that company is not a government agency. So what interest are they paying the company? So there are explanations they cannot give you. That is why we are now saying in our recommendation that the Commissioner of Finance should step aside from the office to allow for proper and further investigation into her activities during her time in office. Because, of course, you cannot be a judge over your own case. She cannot be in the office while she's being probed. So she should step aside so that we'll be able to manage the process better based on the recommendations we gave when the document was submitted earlier today.
Did the House or the committee invite Governor El-Rufai?
Well, we invited people whose signatures are on documents, contracts, those who are direct dealing with our funds. Eventually, most of them will tell you they acted based on instruction from the state governor and all that. So we have made our recommendations and we have forwarded it to the executives and all other relevant agencies for further actions. At that point, it is expected that they take it up from where we stop and probably conduct further investigation from where we stopped, actually.
Are you aware that Governor El-Rufai has since replied to some of some of the things that are being said, or the report that is circulating? But you imagine that for the sake of fairness, you probably would have reached out to Governor El-Rufai, because if all these monies and these allegations are against his government, against his administration, and they went on under his, when he was in the saddle, was the House able to get any major reply directly from Governor El-Rufai?
None that I'm aware of. But every other person that worked under him that has anything to do with these funds were all invited, and they appear. As a matter of fact, we expect the EFCC, the ICPC, with which some of these documents have been sent to them, to be able to take it up from there. We have done the nitty-gritty. We have not, as a matter of fact, we've not invited him. But every other person that has a signature appended on any contractual documents, any withdrawals, and anything has already been invited. And then we have a 200-page document on the summary of our findings, and we have the executive summary too that have all been forwarded for further actions.
But, I mean, the principle of fair hearing, if you are indicting someone and you are not able to get his own response, is that fair?
He will be given an opportunity to explain himself.
Where?
Because
when?
This is not the end. And he will be called upon. He will be given an opportunity to explain himself.
But you have already released your report, and you have already alleged that Governor El-Rufai has allegedly been involved in money laundering and abuse of office.
We said his government.
Under his watch. His face is everywhere, that is accused of abuse of office and misappropriation and money laundering under his government. So when we wonder that you would have availed him the opportunity to, at least, even if it's in writing, and these are some of the things that people understand. I'm going to read to you the statement coming from Governor El-Rufai. So the principle of fair hearing has not been adhered to in your proceedings.
Well, as a matter of fact, when you see the monies that were siphoned, the $1.4 million US and the 30 billion naira that was withdrawn from the KDIRS account were withdrawn by the Accountant General and the Commissioner for Finance. That was why we invited them. As for El-Rufai, areas where he was found wanting, we equally mentioned it in our own conclusion. And when you go through our document, you will see it. For instance, there's so many loans that they collected. Some of them did not pass through the appropriate channel. They were not given approvals for. As a matter of fact, members of the House of Assembly are getting to even know that some of these things were done under their watch without their knowledge. So if you read his own, you will see where we equally faulted him on some of these items. He did not go through due process. But as for who took what under his government and under his watch, we mentioned their names, we invited them, and they are all there. Probably, when the relevant agencies invite them for further questioning, they will probably explain why they did what they did, or where these funds are, if at all it is with them. It's possible El-Rufai does not know where the monies are. It's possible he knows. So when they go there, those people have the training. They have the requisite training. They have the requisite knowledge to dig out from them what happened, where these funds are, what they were meant for. And then probably whoever instruct them to do that, or whoever they take the monies to, will also be invited. And from there, we will equally have more insight to what happened.
So I'd like to ask you some two straight questions. So you did not find anything directly linked to Governor El-Rufai in your document and your findings?
Well, as the head of the government, what do you expect? Who gives instructions?
No, I'm asking. You said that monies are being transferred, money has been approved by some persons in government, but I'm asking specifically now, did your finding show any kind of possible linkage at all directly to the governor, either through his own purse, through his cronies, or through anyone linked to him? Did you find out any of such?
Through his cronies, yes, but not directly to him.
Not directly to him. So now,
yes,
my other quick question to you is this. Are there returning members in the House who served when El-Rufai, at least in the second term, who served in the House in the second term of El-Rufai and who are serving right now in the House at the moment? Are there any of them?
We have 12 of them.
12 of them. Are they saying that all of the monies being spent that is being unaccounted for were not with their knowledge?
As a matter of fact, on the day this probe committee was set up, the then Speaker of the House of Assembly said they forged his signature on some documents, and he is not aware of most of the loans they take. And when you come back to the books of the House, there is no day you will see there's a resolution on some of these debts. There's no resolution passed on the floor of the House. So once there's no resolution passed, what it means is that the House is not aware of that transaction. And so, that is the situation. So
as a lawmaker, I mean, we have seen and you read, you have gone through this process. Your summary in your head, it was that, or is that government was a government of corruption. Is that what you would sum it as?
Sure, when you come to Kaduna and see the numerous abandoned projects, you will have no choice but to ask questions.
So my question is that, would you say that the government of El-Rufai was a government of corruption? Is that what your report has found out?
It's a government enmeshed in corruption. They mercilessly, recklessly looted Kaduna State dry. I can tell you that. Money they collected for project execution.
All right.
Now, Sean, when you talk of integrity, you came on board from 1965 to when he was handed over power to. The total debt taken by Kaduna State government is in the region of $235 million. In the 8th year of his reign, he single-handedly took $758 million. By the time he came into office in 2015, the domestic debt incurred by the debt was completely wiped off. He came in, there was zero debt. And then they left behind for him monies that he mopped up through TSA worth about $34 billion to kick off his government with. Now, go back and check in his handing over note how much he left behind as debt for us. How much he left behind as debt. And then the monies he collected to execute this project, if you come to Kaduna, over 60% of these projects are abandoned. And it will take Kaduna State 20 years to even complete what he left behind. So where is integrity? These things ordinarily should raise questions from every common man on the street. That is why everybody is interested in this matter. There are several millions of dollars collected from African Development Bank, Islamic Bank, to execute specific projects that were never done. We are waiting for them. We are waiting his response. Let us see how they will shamelessly respond to these things. These are documents. These are documents available in public offers and public offers that will be made available to the public.
Yeah.
But I can bet you, those who contributed in fleecing our state will have no option than to be made to pay for them.
All right.
Because governance in Kaduna State today has become very difficult because we are paying back these debts. Unfortunately, he structured the debt in such a way that he never paid a kobo during his time. It was when he left they started this deduction. And it is making governance very difficult.
It's a kind of political undertone to all of this that is happening.
Chow, it is a normal thing in Nigeria today where somebody commits a fault and is asked to answer for it. They will begin to color it with politics. If it is political, then we will run through the streets of Kaduna and show you all the abandoned projects left. In Kafanchan today, the road project they have been doing for more than 5 years. Till today, when it rains, you will see people falling off. Their projects are there. It is not political. All we're asking is accountability. Come and tell us the money you collected, what you did with them. Now, let me give you a shocker, Sean. The consultants the government hired during his tenure to help with the projects executed, they valued projects about 60 billion naira are recommended for payment, but they ended up paying these contractors over 180 billion naira. The consultant valued 60-something billion, and you are paying contractors over 180 billion naira. Why? So if you go through our report, you will see contractors, we wrote down their names and monies they are supposed to refund back to the government as either overpayment or payment for jobs that were never executed. These things the documents are there. It is quite pathetic.
Yeah.
I'm smiling now, but of course, nobody is smiling in the state.